Crypto market has started bouncing a little bit. It's 2% movement for the entire market, but you do see some assets moving way further than that. Some of them have a lot of volume, some don't. But if you remember, we've been talking about this before. There was a huge change happening in BTC market. Ether, USDT money was being moved, and that was one of the biggest move in like 3-4 months. So something just happened back then. Right now, when you look at that, you do see the money which was moved in, that's already in the market. They've been buying assets, and you're looking at these and saying like, okay, some of these big cap coins are still moving. Say Matic is one of the big cap coins, which comes in like top 10, excluding the stable coins, and you see that pumping, right? So now what we are more interested in is what XRP is doing. But if you really would like to actually get an idea of which of these coins are running, how can you have a better trade, how can you have a better entry, then that's what we are going to discuss today. Using different charts, we will actually show you. Now these are like large cap big coins, whereas this one is actually a small cap coin, to talk you through how you can maintain that ability to get into the right position. And when the market goes like this, they start to move, you are already in and you are now prepared to take your profits as it hits through your targets. Some of these coins, we've been already positioned, we entered there, we are waiting for this, we know our targets, we will exit. Now that's really important when you are inside crypto market, especially which is super volatile, right? So we're going to break down those. This is the scientific investor family, where the normal common retail guys come and learn how to become the next top 10% of the world. So this is what we are looking at right now. XRP on a daily, then we'll go on to XRP 3-day, weekly, then BTC, Ether, all of them, and then take our vision into a small cap coin to see what it's doing, how you can get positioned, whether you should buy or not, how to make that decision. That is a critical decision for most of us. So if we are looking at this is XRP USD. We've been talking about this. Now, what is really important here? If you look at this in terms of the price action, as far as I'm considered, I'm looking at this like, okay, the price was getting resisted here. And the same, you're observing this, the price was getting supported here. Then we break to the upside. That is important because afterwards you got resisted here and then here. Now, why is this important? At the top, you made a touch which showed you it is getting resisted, and it kind of reassured that it is a resistance. But now at the bottom, you're getting something similar. So you can expect the price to go back up. Now, if it is going back up, then what does that mean? Now, that's something really important you should ask yourself for XRP in particular. Say you're looking at a trend where the price is coming down, and then suddenly it starts changing its momentum. So you end up in a trading range here. Great. And then you come retest the mid zone of this and you kind of bounce. That's a great signal actually. You then actually move on further and trade like this. Fine. Now we don't know whether we are going to come down or go up, but what we do know is that the price, we do know that the price is trending here. So now you can literally wait there for a breakout, asking that question, are we breaking to the downside here or we are going to break to the upside? We need to watch that one, right? We get that idea. Now we are going on to a 3-day chart. Same asset, 3-day chart. Now why do we have to do this? Because now you kind of get a little bit more information from the chart or the price action. Here, you do know that this was the trading range which you broke to the upside. What's additional? When you broke that one up, you kind of confirmed one pattern which was like this. That's a double bottom. And you do get this idea here that you do trend down And at some point, what you do is like one range becomes your resistance and then another range becomes your support. Fine. You had price reacting at these levels, but then it broke to the downside. Whereas here, that changed. You went to the upside. Fine. And at the same time, you are also observing that the moving average is crossing to the upside and continuing to the upside, where the short-term moving average, this one is the 21 moving average day, which is having higher momentum and angle of elevation. It is going up. Now we go on to the weekly chart. Great. So here the confirmation is still there. It's the same. You kind of get the picture. You broke higher, but you did not actually get too much time here. See, when we are trending up and doing this, the length of this matters. If it is going too long, now the upside reduces. So inside a weekly chart, you're still here. You did not actually do all this. You're still at this point. If you break higher, you can still get a lot of momentum. That's important to observe. Now, you go back to the market, you're looking at Bitcoin and saying like, okay, I understand like Bitcoin does move the market. So if we are looking at this, for me, I'm saying like, okay, this was a resistance. Then we saw this price range was getting supply demand attention, right? Traders and investors were reacting to that. And right now we are at that range. Do we know whether we are going to break lower or bounce higher? No one knows. But what we are trying to look at here is what the price can actually do at these critical levels, because that does matter. Now you come here at this point to ask that question, like what can you anticipate? You put in one low, high, lower high, and then another lower high, then another one. So as of now, you're trending lower even on the short term. So you kind of take them out and you say like, okay, if I get a breakout to the upside, it's positive. If not, it's going to be negative. But right now, if you go back into the market and look at it, the price is getting some attention. Price is slowly trying to bounce off, which is a positive step for us. Great. Now we go on to see like, okay, that's Bitcoin. What's Ether doing? Because that kind of reflects the altcoin market into the positive scenario. We had this long-term range which was acting as a strong support resistance zone, and we have actually seen like, price action doing interesting stuffs here, right? It was getting resisted here, then getting supported here, which does matter because when you were going below that, you spend some time and then broke lower, giving you the confirmation, I'm turning bearish. But then you got a base here, you bounced back into this range, but you could not hold on to it. So right now, what's important is this is a higher low if the price action is able to break through this one. So you got a higher low, but still you are in a higher structure where you look at this and say like the highs are low here. I really have to go up and put in a new high and bounce so that I will say like, yes, the trend here is changing. Unless you do this, you are still making higher lows, but not higher highs. So you still have a lot of doubt in the market. Fine. Now we actually move on to look at this coin, which is ORC. For the time being, we are taking that because on the day it has done something good. It's slowly trying to move. So we are looking at whether that's a good buy, or if you're in there, yeah, it's averaging down, that's all. But if you're looking at an asset, then you're like, okay, this has been trending inside. I understand this. When we were getting into this, you had price reacting to that price range. Then as you entered into that range, the price kind of started reacting here. Now you connect those dotted lines and extend that. So you kind of reach an area where you see the prices reacting at every time when it is close to that level, whether it's at the bottom or at the top side of this. Fine. Now you're like, okay, do we have a chance to bounce, then break this level? That's the biggest question when you are here, because on a 3-day chart, macro, you're like, okay, we don't have too much room till we reach that resistance again. That's why you then go on to a short-term chart. Now this again becomes important, like we talked about in XRP, to know short-term trend and the long-term one. Here, you're trending lower, but what happens? Your price kind of makes a base, but then you put in the structure. Now this do show you that it was a double top, not a lower high. But then again, the trend is like this. It was coming to the downside. But what does matter there is that the price broke lower. Fine. Now something has changed. You made a base here. You bounced each time with an engulfing candle here. And then this was your trading range, which you have broken now. And that break is to the upside. Fine. So on a short term, you may move further upside, but then you come here and ask like, okay, that's going to be a resistance. So if your average is higher than this, you're already in the asset. Okay, this kind of gives you a chance that next time it may not come back here. It may consolidate here and bounce. So you now have an ability to understand that as an opportunity. Now, we talked about large cap coins. So we are looking for large cap coins moving right now. And we see like, okay, here are we below 50. Matic is like, close to 10. So that really is a large cap coin of interest. Now we can actually easily look at that. We go on, we take in Matic. Say you go on to the Matic coin Paprika. You're going to look at it on a daily, which would be better right now because the price is moving, right? So we want to get an understanding of what the price action is showing you. Now on different scales, you want to look at this because you do understand trend line does matter. Trend lines, in my opinion, show you a lot of information what the price can actually do. So you need to actually break this range and ask the question, what is the possibility which you observe in the market? Can you really make money on this one? That's an important question because when you're in the market, it does matter. At least if you're trying to make money, that does matter. So now we are looking at Matic here. So as you look at Matic, what is first point of interest for you? For me, it would be, yes, there is a pattern which we are inside. So we are moving great. But once you broke that one, you've been retesting that range a couple of times here. Then here. So now you are like, okay, fine, I do get that point. Like the price is trending. It is kind of testing this range. But now you are breaking this one, which is the 20-day moving average, 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average. Now that's something really interesting to keep your eyes on because last time when you tried that, you failed. When you tried that, you failed because all of them were acting as a resistance. You get the point? Each time you are having these moving average, at least one of them acting as a resistance. Then this position, something changed. The short-term moving average started moving to the upside. You get that cross. Then that started acting as a support. So now when you're above this level, what really is interesting is that you can actually look at this and say like, okay, this was acting as a resistance all these time. So now when we break to the upside, even if we are coming down, that should act as a support. This is a change in trend which you should notice because here there is no more opportunity for you because I will consider this range as a reaccumulation after the break because this you can consider even as a inverse head and shoulder or a rounded bottom reversal, which shows you that buyers are really interested in this. Now, how do you note that? You can go on, say, make a 3-day chart. This is kind of a 3-day chart. And inside that, now your area of interest is this. So you are kind of asking like, okay, what do I look at if I'm entering into that trade? Fine. You are looking at this and what you would be looking is profits, basically. So if you are here, then right now what you really don't want to miss is where you are looking at the profits. So you want is this, you have a trend line here. Then if you are considering this, okay, that was not great trend line. Fine. So here, now you're observing that the price is getting some reaction and it did make a rounded bottom. But the cup and handle pattern kind of did not play out completely well, but you still get some reflection of that here. So if that's the case, you kind of look at this and say, okay, this is the range which you're interested in. you take this one and plot to the upside and say that's your target. Great. So you go back into the chart and you look at this and say like, okay, fine. If we are breaking higher, we do have room to go for another 180%. Now, you can neglect some of these as wicks and say like, okay, I'm considering like this. Then that's a different story. You do get similar measured move, but it just increases a little bit more. Now, why do you have to look at these two? Because now when you are putting in your targets, you're not just putting in one target. If you entered a position, now you don't want to waste. Say you put in a target of 2.4, it goes to 3. Or it drops from 1.8. So you do have to consider that scenarios too. Right now, if you are there looking at and asking the same question, this kind of acts like this. You have this base, which you can put like this. And then further, you're doing this. And again, you're making this one. So now, if you want to be conservative, it would be 250. If you want to be optimistic, it can be 290. So you just take that measurements either from here to this one or from here. Great. You take that and plot it from this level of breakout. So if we do the same in MANAG, say 250 as a little bit conservative range, say somewhere here, you get 2.8. And if you're going for 290, then you come all the way up to 3.2. Now, what does that actually mean? If you are optimistic, then you are going to make a new all-time high, which means the market itself is going to go high. When an asset is doing wave 1, wave 2, and then wave 3, you should take profits and run because you really don't know. Now, it can go even higher than that, but the question is, are you willing to risk going into the real bear market? I would call like that because after wave 3 waves, you get that in the market. So when you are here talking about this breakout, be interested. If you double your money, take profits. If you are continuing higher, have regular targets and take your profits. So guys, if you are here learning something, please do hit that like button. That supports the channel a lot. And if you want information on different assets like this, which are breaking higher and showing you a lot of opportunities, we would say look at the Patreon. The link is in the description because we are right now doing Ask for TA session, which we go through a lot of different assets and literally we are observing a lot of breakouts. Some of them are starting to trend back up. Some of our trades, which we were averaging down, are now getting volume, massive volume, and starting to move. So if you are in the market, you are at a point like, I don't want to miss this. I'm like, make sure you don't miss this. Otherwise, in 3 months, 6 months time, when this is over, you may literally have to wait for next 4 years to get another trending market to the upside like this. So guys, that's it for today. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.